Big brother?
What up, boy?
First of all, let me commend you on having the guts to, keep it true to yourself, man, and all of us as fans or whatever, for standing up for what you believe in. Because,
Thank you, man. Appreciate being hosted by New Orleans' finest and Mr. Manny Fresh. Appreciate your work through the years, rocking and rolling and controlling how you do. So appreciate you, brother. What's up, y'all? What's going on? Yeah, that's what's up.
So let me get right into it. Can you define your name for us? What would be your definition of Lupe Fiasco?
Oh man, that's just flair, It was actually a mistake too, because I thought fiasco meant something else. And then it was like too late because the pluggers were already printed, It's like, you just gotta run with it. But it really came from when we felt, rappers had to have first and last names. That was when that was cool. Nas Escobar, Biggie Smalls, and he was Frank White. I was like, oh, we gotta have like a real name with a last name too. So Lupe Fiasco. Fiasco came from the Firm album, Firm Fiasco. They had a song,
okay,
and that came from there. And then the Lupe came from my name is Wasalu, and I used to be Lil Lou. And I had a homie in school named Lupe, who was like the big homie, literally the big homie, this big 6-foot Colombian dude. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna take your name and be Lupe Fiasco. And the lady said at a talent show, and it was like, well, that's me.
So a fiasco can be cool.
Yeah, it means something terrible though, It also means like wine or something like that.
But you wear it so well,
yeah,
dude.
But
it fits you so
Indeed.
well. You make it something incredible.
Indeed.
So let me ask you this: with you being on a major label and all, being an artist, do you feel like sometimes your creativity gets challenged when you want to go one way and the label want to go another way, or do you feel like you, I guess, as an artist, get to do what you want to do?
It's always a compromise, even when I do what I want to do, they take it out of me on the back end, It's like, oh, okay, you can do whatever you want, but, we're not going to really pay for the videos, So, they leverage it on you, how they get down. At the end of the day, they want, it's about control at the end of the day. They don't really necessarily care what you make, what kind of music it is, the most positive, the most negative, the wackest or the dopest. They just want to make sure that they got control over it to a certain extent. So I could say like, yeah, they let me do whatever I want, but then I pay for it on the other side. I pay for it somehow. They find a way to, whether it be like, oh, you wanted your advance? Well, guess what? No, So.
Feel you. I feel you. So would you say right now in your career that you've done your song, like, and what I mean by your song, the song that you would define yourself by, that you would say like, this is my heart, this is my soul, this is my everything. Like, I've done this song and this one song that says that. Have you done that yet, or is that a future song?
I think I've touched at because there's two lanes with me. There's the pure artistic lane, where I just rap for the love of rapping, and then there's this commercial, Lupe Fiasco lane, where there you have your limitations, and you have your fans, and to me that's still a limitation because you're still trying to please the audience and make people happy or piss people off or whatever. But for me, on the pure side, I'm always just trying to, in a pursuit to create the ultimate, song for me. And so I think like touching at it is songs like Double Burger with Cheese off the Friend of the People mixtape was something that was like, that was close. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Failure was close. There's another record on a new album called Form Follows Function that's close. And then there's I'm starting to come up with the ideas for the record after Food and Liquor 2. and start building that. I got a bunch of the tracks, but I'm still trying to build the ideas. And you know, that whole record is me trying to do a whole album out of it. You know what I'm saying? And see if I can do that. But I've touched it a little bit. And He Gets the Girl. Shout out to the homie who did the remake. That's definitely like one of those records where I sit back and be like, yeah, I've touched the, you know, the bottom of heaven, the rapper's heaven, you know, a little bit. So.
Okay.
And as you notice, none of those songs, well, except for Foreign Follows Function, was on any album. You know, it was just like, you know, for the love on a mixtape for free, thrown out on the internet kind of a thing. So.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So the state that hip hop is in right now, would you say that this is kind of, I guess the way I can explain this, I would say my generation and growing up, hip hop taught us so much. You know, we had pro-black, we had the storyteller, we had the bling bling, we had the gangster rap, and there's so many categories. Would you say the state right now that hip hop is in, is it still there? Do we have that right now?
You know, and it's a good segue too, because, you know, building on that idea that there's two lanes, you know. So there's me as the pure artist, and then with no commercial expectation of any sort, and then there's the commercial, you know, Lupe Fiasco kind of experience. You know, you have that same kind of duality in hip hop. I think there's like the culture of hip hop, you know, which is, you know, Crazy Legs, you know, Big Daddy Kane, you know, and, you know, rap dudes who paint on the train stations in Paris, to the dudes who DJ competitions in Japan, like that, just that everything that is hip hop, from the good, the bad, the ugly, everything else. And then I think you got the commercial side of hip hop, you know, everything that you hear on the radio, everything that's for sale, so to speak. And I think that today there's a very substantial lack of substance, you know, in the commercial side of it, which even affects some of the cultural side of it too, because they are one and the same. So I definitely think like I will bump into people like DJs and different people who felt, you know, people who literally had life-changing situations where they say, man, I learned about, you know, 5%ers, you know, from this rapper, from KRS-One. He just mentioned it, and I started to study it. Before I know it, I'm a 5%er. You know, or, you know, this particular rapper, like you said, it was a in the commercial space, there was more of a how can I say? It was just more of an even slate. You know, everybody got a look. Whereas now it's more about just the vanity, you know, the misogyny, you know, the violence, you know, the dope dealing, the whole thing. That's kind of the only thing you hear when you turn on the radio. Just the over-sexualized everything. Everything is just kind of like, you know, and it all sounds the same. So I think it's pretty much right now, it's like, you know, it's on repeat. You know, it's nobody's really, you know, breaking out of the mold. Now, not to say that there aren't people coming, you know, you got like the Kendrick Lamars and the Blues and the Danny Browns and, you know, the D1s even, you know, who are kind of pushing the envelope, and people like them who are kind of pushing the envelope, but that is yet to be seen, you know, in the commercial space in a big, big way. So in the commercial arena right now, it's very vanilla, you know, but a bad vanilla, you know.
Yeah. So let's say, fast forward, 20 years from now, do you still see hip hop growing, or is it done?
On the cultural side, I see it growing, just like punk rock or, you know, speed metal or where there's a cultural kind of offshoot or byproduct of a music. Jazz is still around, blues is still around, you know. You just walk through the French Quarter and see that blues is still alive and well. With hip hop, I think we're at like a crossroads, to be honest, where, you know, either we're going to get overtaken the same way, whatever that, you know, genre that's underneath the scenes right now, bubbling, that only a few people are on, you know, that a few people taking chances with, the same way that hip hop overtook everything else, overtook punk music, overtook rock, overtook disco, overtook blue, you know. I think that there's some under the surface that's kind of pulling all of that energy that hip hop ain't using anymore, and and kind of taking what hip hop used to be, and refining it in their own way. And I think that, you know, I hope that is not the case. But you know, I feel like something's finna come that's gonna put hip hop on the back burner, and then hip hop is gonna be the same way that we look at the blues, and the same way that we look at jazz, where it's just kind of like, oh, it's there, but the people who really saying something is these dudes now, you know. So we'll see. They like, oh my God, it's sober. That was all rappers. They was like, what? Man.